Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool. Well, just how bad is the new Snap-on 100 tooth ratchet? Let's take a little deeper dive into it. I'm not going to do a teardown right now, but I probably will in the future. I have some suspicions about really my only complaint on this thing. But there are a handful of things that seems to have basically stalled it out as a great new Snap-on tool. Now the Snap-on website, if you look for this ratchet, you won't see it, at least obviously. So first of all, it's not listed anywhere through usual channels. If you do a search, like for the FHLF 100, which is what this is, you will get an error, basically that it can't find anything. If you do a Google search, however, you can find this on the Snap-on website. Looks like this. However, instead of a price, it tells you to call customer service. So I don't know what that means. So even Snap-on is being a little closed mouth about it. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So first of all, it is a completely new to Snap-on ratchet design. The handle, they have used their new handle design. I actually like this. One complaint, people don't like it. It's too big. That's a choice. I think there are probably other handles that will be available, so that just happens to be an option. People are talking about the flex head getting loose, flopping around. Time will tell. However, there are changes to the flex head, and I'll go over those in a moment. At least all of this is just what I've noticed and what I've gleaned from hearing about complaints with this thing. The back drag is it's a real issue, and I think it's twofold. So there are actually two problems with the back drag, and I'll show you those in a moment. But let's get to the really serious stuff. You see this logo here? This is not the classic Snap-on script. People are saying, "Oh, it's great, it's classic." I don't know anybody who is enamored by that particular Snap-on logo. This particular script only occurred product runs from 1944 to 1948. In fact, it was the shortest run of any of the Snap-on logos over the years. Most people are thinking of this. This is kind of a classic one, had a nice long run till it went to kind of the more blocky text with the wrench. But this is old script, and in fact, 1944, I could find nothing but this. This is apparently the time in Snap-on's history when they made railroad tools, dedicated railroad tools, or opened up a railroad tool division. So that's it. Anyway, so there's nothing else special about that logo as far as I can tell, and of all of the Snap-on logos, it just seemed like an interesting choice. Few other things to notice. It has screws on the back compared to the traditional Dual 80, which has the screws on the anvil side. I actually think they belong on this side. First of all, it allows you lower profile. Notice that they are recessed, whereas on the traditional Snap-on Dual 80, they actually hang out a little above, depending on, or the degree about how much above the surface depends on the individual screw and ratchet, because some of them are higher than others. Some of them stick up. In fact, the older screws, those stick up quite a ways. So I don't know why they put them there other than to have a clean face back here, but this is actually harder to clean, and it's in an area that might be rubbing on something. So to me, it's good that they moved them. You can see they've changed the screw designs over time, trying to get lower profile. Just put them on the back. I think that's fine. Yes, it is clunkier if you like the looks of things, but I think that the design is probably better here. It is a lower profile ratchet. Compare it to maybe, this one here is probably the closest. As you can see, it is a lot lower. It's about 2.5 millimeters lower. The yoke is different. As you can see, it's really thick here. Looks like there's a larger gap right here, so they've increased the size. Now they did that when they came out with the new locking head, another winner. I like it, but I don't know, maybe we don't change very fast. But anyway, so they're using a wide gap, but as you notice here, they've reversed this, and they've got the wings on the ratchet head versus the wings on the handle side. So they're experimenting there, but a big difference is look at the size of that screw or the bolt holding that head in place. That is huge. My guess is they have engineered this to snap off, to have that bolt snap before you either deflect too much of the yoke here or damage the ratchet head. And that's both in the design of the way the ratchet head is held and the actual ratcheting mechanism. So this will fail here, is my guess. Is you're going to end up breaking what would normally be a 25-cent bolt. It's a snap-on bolt, so probably a few bucks, but that, I think, is where they have engineered a failure into this. I did a video on this one, this anvil here. As you can see, there is a cut where the anvil is reduced, and this is designed to shear off rather than break a more expensive mechanism on the inside. Why would they do that? Well, the guts of this thing are actually pretty intricate. If you crack one of these open, it doesn't have the dual pawl system the same as the dual 80s that has basically a spring between two sets of pawls that then contact the gear mechanism. Instead, it is a more intricately machined design that uses kind of bowls, little cups, and then you're rolling something inside the bowl. That's why I'll do the teardown later and show you that. But it's a different mechanism that I believe leads to large amounts of back drag. Now, there was another issue that's pretty serious, and I'm wondering if that's what's going on with call customer service, is this switch. There are reports, many of them, and there are videos online, people doing it, where if you push this in, it causes the anvil to just spin freely. So obviously you're working inside, you're pushing up, trying to get something, held tight while you're adding some force, and you push this in and it just slides, just flips. That's bad, really bad. However, you can see how much play there is in this. I can't push it down and get any freewheeling here. I'm wondering if they extended the length of this just a little bit more, which would have solved that problem, because remember that little bowl thing I was telling you? Well, if you could deflect that, then there's no spring or anything holding it near as tightly, so I think you could get that to freewheel. Now, a lot of ratchets, if you put them in the center point, just catch it right in the center. Try to do that with this guy here. There's a lot of resistance with this one compared to the others. I can get this to freewheel. See that? But that's normal. That happens with a lot of ratchets. You can do it with the other snap-ons here. Even with all the play. You get them into a middle position, they freewheel just fine. You just don't want that happening when you're pushing on anything. And I have tried, I've pushed really hard. I cannot get this to freewheel. I'm thinking maybe this is an updated one, because that came out pretty quick. Anyway, overall, it is noticeable, the 100 tooth, but the back drag. In fact, what I find funny, if you watch anyone's YouTube video about this and they're talking about the back drag, they actually turn one way and turn the other way and turn back. They, maybe with their fingers, can't easily turn it if they don't know which way to turn to really apply force. That's an indication of pretty strong back drag, and then they finally get it to turn. Well, there are two things with the back drag I've noticed. One is there is like an inertia. It's not really inertia, it's overcoming the first click. Once you get it moving, I don't know which way it goes here. Once you get it moving, then it is smoother, but there is a ton of back drag, and it seems like, if you flip this and then try it, there's a harder first click. Is that a deal breaker? It certainly could be for some, but let's take a closer look at this back drag. How? Well, let's use our back drag tool. Looks like this. You've been here before. So I'm going to compare the back drag on this guy to the back drag on, how about this one here, a dual 80, real similar head. Nothing else going on, although it is the same as the other dual 80s, including this one, because I've run this test a bunch. I'm going to go ahead and throw these 3/8 to 1/4 inch hex onto the ratchets here. So we'll start out with this guy. This is the dual 80, and just connect it up here, and you can watch the little gauge turn. Flip that so you can see it will ratchet here. So let's go ahead and start winding. Right there. So this is clicking at about 700. Okay. Let's go ahead and pop that off and throw this one on. Get that set right. Okay. So now what let's do is crank this guy. So this is the new one. I want to make sure I'm getting it. I ran out of space here, so it's hitting the end of my gauge here, so I'm gonna have to give it a little bit more to work with. So there, I've added a rubber band. Now let's see. Okay, this is, well, it's skipping around here. Okay, that's around 900. You can see it bouncing around in there. Well, let's go back now to, whoops, the original and see how the dual 80 compares with that rubber band on there. Wind that up all the way out here. Roll that down. So now this one's about 400. So according to this, it is over twice. Let me hold that. I'll put the other one back on. Sorry about that. Put this guy. This is the new one, the 100 tooth. So about 800. It bounces around a little, kind of wild. But anyway, what we're looking at is roughly twice maybe the amount of back drag. That is a huge amount of back drag, and really quite unfortunate because this particular line of ratchets, I mean the dual 80s and this new one should have been known, like the dual 80, for being silky smooth, but this is a ton of resistance. In fact, I can barely do it with my little finger and my thumb. I mean, it should be silky smooth. Just like that, you know, very little resistance. So that's a huge one. So the handle, the yoke, the floppiness, which I haven't seen yet, but it should be something that you can take care of, hopefully. The small pin, the breakage here, the reversed screws, the oddly chosen logo, the shortest snap-on logo run in history is that one. Other than that, it's a great ratchet. How much is one of these? I don't know. I don't know if they're for sale. If you've got them on your truck, let me know what they're selling for. There are several versions of these. I'm hoping that they straighten it all out. That's weird. When you grab one of these, you don't know which way to turn it because there's so much resistance both directions. It's just strange. But anyway, how bad is it? I think it's kind of bad right now. Could it be better? I mean, could it be fixed? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. This is a great Ratchet design, but it needs a little bit of help. I'm not sure. The only thing I've got, the only complaint I have is that back drag, and I'm not sure just how they're going to get around that. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. And with that, Doc out.